Okay, welcome everybody back to Steve Talks Boxing X, STBX, where we talk real boxing with the real boxing fans. And this week show, we're talking about this Saturday's fight in Johnny Fisher versus Alen Babic. And we're also going to incorporate the roundup with Darren June's show. And of course, joining me is Darren Aston. Thanks, Darren. Thanks for coming back on again.
Hi, Steve. Great to be back on STBX again.
Yep. Like I said, this is where we talk real boxing with real boxing fans.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's great to have you on. I was going to go straight into the roundup show, and then we're going to talk about the Fisher and Babic fight after. So let's go straight away. Fight of the month for you in June. Who was that for you, Darren?
Well, I've got that springs to mind like of nearest memory. I mean, we've had like a few crackers this month. The one for me, I'm going to go again. I think I've done this on the last show. I'm going to go for a domestic one, and I'm going to go for an international one.
Yeah.
The domestic one for me was actually a show I was ringside for, as many people keep telling me. I keep reminding them I was ringside for. So
was you ringside? I remember seeing the photo with you and Eddie. I remember that.
the ultimate fanboy, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, but to be ringside, to be honest with you, for this fight was great to be so close to the action to see. I'm going to go for Lewis Crocker versus Conor Walker as the first one. The only thing it really lacked was a knockdown in the fight, but hats off to Conor Walker for taking so many like power punches from Lewis Crocker. And you know, Conor Walker had his own success as well, but it was an absolute barnstormer of a fight. It was just back and forth, very, very close fight as well. But it was just brilliant to be so close to see it and to see some of the shots that Conor Walker took. Brilliant fight. And then the next one, I'm going to go internationally, which is the weekend just gone, which has got to be Estrada versus Bam.
Yeah.
7 rounds of just total brilliant action of 2 absolute quality fighters, and brilliant victory as well for Bam. It was just a quality fight all round, and this fight did have the knockdowns, whereas Lewis Crocker and Conor Walker didn't. This had the knockdowns in the fight, which for 7 rounds of action, brilliant to watch.
Yeah, I was going to say, me and Amit done the preview show last week, and these guys, they don't really get the credit. The smaller flyweights, they really don't get the credit. And for what Bam did, you know, Strada's never been stopped. So he's already a Hall of Famer, isn't he? And to do that in that fight, it was pretty amazing as well. So good fight. So what about your fighter of the month then? Who would you nominate for that?
Well, I think I've got to go for the on the 2 shows that I've actually just mentioned. I mean, I'm going to go for the local guy to me, Tyler Denny, for the Felix Cash fight. For his brilliant performance against Felix Cash. I mean, I know Felix Cash has been out the ring 18 months, but Tyler Denny put on a superb display, and he's on a great winning streak now, and I think he deserves a lot of praise for how he's gone on that winning streak. He's been impressive every time, and like I say, 18 months out of the ring, Felix Cash, but Tyler Denny was actually the underdog in this fight. I didn't think so. Yeah. But he proved he's really getting better and better, I think, and I'm so glad he's landed the Hamza Shiraz fight, and that's why I'm giving him domestically the fight of the month as well, because he's landed that big fight as well.
I was going to say that, what a turnaround, you know, from that to fighting on the AJ undercard now. Wow. And he's like a plumber a few years ago, wasn't he? So that amazing.
It just shows, doesn't it? Like, it just shows, doesn't it, though, really? Like, you know, if you go on a good winning streak in boxing and putting some impressive performances on, you just don't know when, like, Turkey's going to come ringing your phone now saying you're going to be on one of the massive shows and you've had a life-changing payday. And he deserves it massively, and I hope he can pull a creditable performance off against Hamza Shiraz. I expect Hamza Shiraz to win, but I really think Tyler Denny's going to get a good display in that fight.
Yeah. And you mentioned international again. So who's your fighter internationally then, wise?
The guy we've just seen the weekend, Bam. I just think he's a sublime fighter. A massively impressive performance to do that to Estrada. Never been stopped. I don't think he's ever been down.
No.
And let's be honest, Bam took him apart, and it was just a super impressive performance.
Yeah, he's 24 years old as well, Darren. I was saying to Amit, he's like the Luke Littler of boxing. So, so he's just amazing. Yeah, amazing
well,
talent.
Like you say, 24 years of age. He's got absolutely boatloads of his career left. And he's doing that now. And he hasn't reached his peak. And to do that to Estrada, like I said, I don't think he's ever been down. Never mind dropped twice the way he was and taken apart. Everything he does, when he throws a shot, he barely misses the range. Every time he throws a shot, he's just a superb machine in that ring. He's absolute
work
quality.
rate as well, isn't he? He's like
brilliant.
Work rate is phenomenal as well. But like I said, these flyweights, the smaller guys, are not getting the credit they need to. Urge people who haven't watched that fight, go and watch it now on YouTube. Find it on YouTube and watch it. It was a great fight. Who was a promoter of the month for you and why?
I know I do this with the fighter of the month and that, where I'm starting to have like two internationally and domestically, but I don't think you can have one this month. I think we've got to give massive credit to Callie Sowland, Eddie Earn, Frank Warren, and our mate Ben Shalom as well for getting this Wembley card on. They have all worked together to put on a superb show of brilliant fights that are coming up in September. So we all know money talks. We all know that that's a massive influence on it as well. But they've still had to work together to get these fights across the line. And if you're probably going to edge it to someone, you'd probably say Ben Shalom, because he's finally got in the mix
of it. Yeah.
Working with the other guys in the Saudi card. And it was nice to see Ben Shalom in the ring with Eddie Earn as well at the Birmingham Matchroom show.
Nice handshake as well there. I saw that.
They did.
Isn't it
mad? It's nice to see him in the ring.
Yeah, isn't it mad to think like maybe 12 months ago, Frank Warren, Eddie Hearn, wouldn't dream of them working together, and then all of a sudden everyone's working together. It shows you what a bit of Saudi money can make the world go round, doesn't it? Really? So,
exactly. But they've still. We agree, money talks, but they've still had to work together to get these fights done. And we was always looking for people like Ben Shalom to get in the picture for a long time. After Eddie and Frank become the best of friends, that people were saying it's now time for the likes of the others like Ben Shalom to step in, and even Callie Sowland, and they've all pitched in and got the fights that for me as a massive boxing fan, I'm very happy with the Wembley card.
Definitely. That like I said, it's remarkable. Who would have thought this? Even like some of the stuff when even Eddie and Ben Shalom went through a sort of like slagging off each other's stage, didn't they? Really. So on some points, and now it's all happy families, hopefully. So
it looks like Eddie. Yeah,
it's good for the fans because we're getting the fights. There's no clash of promoters. What's stopping the fight? Is there? There's no egos and stuff like that. So
the thing is now what. I was just going to say, sorry. The one thing I was going to say now is like not just on the Saudi cards. You like to think it's looking like we will have cross promotions on fights now, and things can get done easier on the domestic scene as well. I know it's a domestic card at Wembley, but obviously it's a Saudi promotion. Like Turkey's got the card going, and he's providing the funds for these fights as well. But we've got to have it on the smaller hall shows as well, not just the big events.
Yeah, the sort of the domestic, like I said, go back to sort of like the domestic, the British titles and stuff like that. So, there's some great matchups there, isn't there? Moving on to your boxing controversy of the month. I already know the answer to this, so I'm ready for it. Go on, hit me with it, Darren.
Well, it was the, I was thinking, because I obviously saw it, like in the Lewis Crocker and the Conor Walker fight.
Yeah. So not only was one of your, obviously you was there ringside. You said it was a great match. I'm going to let you
Well,
know what my opinion is after your opinion on that one.
go on, yeah. I'll give you the input. Like, from where I
Yeah.
was ringside,
Mm-hmm.
I was sitting amongst like boxers as well, and the low blow happened in the fight, and I didn't see any real warnings for the low blow, so I thought he
No.
took the point off very quickly for Conor Walker. That was controversial for me because obviously we knew that going forward, Lewis Crocker's got the Paddy Donovan fight lined up, and Paddy Donovan was
Yeah.
ringside.
Mm-hmm.
So straight away, everyone around me was saying, Sam Gilly as well was saying, obviously the boxer was saying that wouldn't have happened the other way around because we know what's coming next with Lewis Crocker and Paddy Donovan.
Well, you pretty much hit my feelings exactly. I thought Walker won the fight personally, but
I was just
and I think even a couple of people said to me on X, they said it's only because the Donovan fight is scheduled next. That's purely the reason why he got the nod. And the scorecards, I remind people, were 96-93 times 2 and 95-94. So, you know, it was close, yeah.
But like the thing is, like everyone round ringside near me, nobody had Crocker winning the fight.
Mm-hmm.
Really, it was just Conor Walker. Like the Conor Walker, bear in mind, was the home fighter as well. Whereas usually the home fighter gets the favours pretty much in boxing. But because of the nature of this fight with Paddy Donovan next, it didn't matter if he was the home fighter or not. Conor Walker, he just lost the fight basically when a lot of people had him winning, and that's the controversy for me for the nearest one I thought of. But you know what, this weekend just gone, Ramla Rally as well. You know, she lost on the cards, and a lot of people thought she'd won, but the cards were wide, and it's the same old with boxing, isn't it? Like, there's too many dodgy scorecards that are still popping up all the time. But the one I was at with that Conor Walker, it weren't just the scorecards, it was the low blows. I was so quick, the referee, to jump on the low blow and duck a point. Sorry, he just don't sit well with me. That doesn't. He's sort of like you know, you use the word corruption, but because of what sort of Lewis Crocker had coming forward, but whether it's corruption or not, but it just doesn't. It's like extra favours were being done for the bigger fighter that's coming next, type of thing.
Yeah, you're not the only person. Like I said, a couple of instant reactions is he purely got the nod because the next fight is going to be Donovan. It's going to be a big fight, isn't it? So, and
we'll go to Ireland, won't it?
Yeah, exactly that.
In Ireland.
Yeah. But it's going to be a good fight, to be honest with you. So,
definitely.
Yeah, like I said, a bit of dodgy scoring there, but on the cards. Looking forward to July. What fights are you looking forward to the most?
Well, the one we're previewing in a bit is definitely one. I'm looking forward to that. And then we've got the brilliant, magnificent 7 card in Birmingham as well again. Birmingham, my hometown, is my home city's putting on all these great shows lately.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
Yeah, love it. I mean, it was a long time actually before. It's been a long time since Birmingham got quite consistent with the boxing. But obviously, they've done a few shows this year, with more to come. Yeah, so on that show, we've obviously got Nathan Heaney and Brad Pauls too, which the first one was a cracker. The sad thing is about that show is, I think you probably already know, Liam Davis Masood's off.
Yeah.
That fight's called off. But Masood's in an 8 round, I believe, on the card. And then there's some other good fights on that card, like Dykers and Adelaide.
Yeah.
And then there's a few other good fights on that card. And then we've got Joyce Chisora as well. We've got that coming forward as well. I'm looking forward to that fight card because there's some good fights on that card.
Yeah. A lot of people say probably maybe should Chisora be still fighting, but you know, the man likes to fight.
You know what? Like, the thing is, right? I agree with that, but who are we to tell Derek Chisora he shouldn't be fighting? You know, he's his own man. He still believes he's fit and able to do it. You know, some people I've seen say like, "Oh, he's starting to slur his words or whatever." But if he wants to carry on, that's entirely up to him. I mean, he's been an absolute warrior over the years. We've seen him, and I expect him to land on Joyce quite at will for the first half of this fight. But he'll probably get stop down the stretch or maybe go to points. But the one thing
Yeah.
Chisora will do is it
It's
joists his
fight.
chin several
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
And it will be exciting.
Yeah, it's interesting what Usyk said a few weeks ago about Chisora was the biggest puncher he's faced, the hardest puncher he's faced. It wasn't Fury, it was Chisora. He was the hardest puncher. So, you know, and heavyweight boxing, yeah, you don't know. So, yeah, so now that's fair enough. Like I said, it should be an interesting one anyway. So,
there's some good fights on that card as well that we've had announced. Archie Sharp as well is on that card.
Yeah, he's a watch.
Yeah, and then I'm trying to think who else is on the card now. My mind's gone blank. And then we've got another card on DAZN as well. We got Boots Ennis versus Avanesian.
Yeah,
David Avanesian. That's a good fight. I mean, obviously David Avanesian steps in.
That's a replacement.
Yeah, not that late notice, but apart from his Terence Crawford defeat, Avanesian's been fighting really well.
Well, yeah,
as we know, he took Josh Kelly apart, didn't
he? Yeah, and
what was that,
obviously
sorry?
Everyone loves watching Boots anyway, isn't he? So he's
quality.
He's one special fighter as well. So we got quite a packed July, haven't we? Really, so quite a few fights.
July's very, very stacked, and like it's nice to see the domestic shows are still staying strong as long as the Saudi cards are still here with the big shows. It's nice to have these ones domestically as well.
Sticking along in the background. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Moving on to Saturday's fight, obviously being Johnny Fisher versus Alen Babic at the Copper Bosch. I get that right. Darren, are you having a Chinese takeaway come Saturday night?
I'm not. I would. Well, I haven't had a Chinese for a while, but I would have for this one. But I'm on holiday. I'm not going to be here. I'm going to be watching abroad.
Okay, there you go then. So no
that's answered your question, yeah. unless I have a Chinese abroad to celebrate Johnny Fisher.
you never know. You never know. You'll find the most random Chinese places everywhere, don't you, nowadays, I think. So
certainly do.
Sure. I met Johnny Fisher a while ago, and I was talking to him, and I said to him, it won't be long before you're headlining the show. And, you know, we're here. What's your thoughts on Fisher actually headlining the show?
Well, it's going to be an exciting fight, but we know Johnny Fisher is a ticket seller. I mean, Eddie Hearn said the other day, 7,000 tickets they've sold for a smallish show like this. It's like you know what? He's a big ticket seller. He's fan friendly. He brings the Bosch army with him, and hats off to the guy. And for me, he's improving as a fighter.
Yeah,
he's looking with each fight. He's looking better and better. And I love to see people like Johnny Fisher do well. And like we say, he's a good ticket seller. As long as he can sell the tickets, he's going to be around for a long time.
Sure. How much do you think social media has helped with the rise of Fisher? Especially Big John as well there, behind him quite a bit.
Well, I think social media, if you're good on it as a boxer, I think like it helps with anybody. But Johnny Fisher's got his own like fans anyway. But obviously, social media is a big thing, and like his dad promotes the hell out of himself, and obviously his son. Both really good characters, but yeah, social media obviously is massive to anyone these days. It's just not all boxers choose to use it properly or use it at all. Yeah. Which we've gone over this before. If you're good on social media as a fighter, it can help you in your career massively.
Yeah, you can certainly. It's self-promotion, isn't it? Really. So you bring obviously the fans behind you. Does half the jobs for you, doesn't it? Really, and
it costs nothing either.
Yeah, costs nothing. Yeah, and it can make fights sometimes. What appeal does the Romford Ball have to his fans? Why did they go see him?
Well, I think it depends on like what type of character you are as a fighter. And Johnny Fisher, he's a bit like Nathan Heaney from Stoke. They're both very, very fan friendly. They both come across as lovely guys. Yeah. They interact with the fans. And they're very similar like that. If you can interact with the fans and you're great with them, you're always going to have them on your side.
Yeah,
So I
do you
think
think
that's a
that helps?
big plus.
Yeah, do you think that helps a lot then? Sort of the character, the interaction of the fans.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
massively. Well, look,
people can.
yeah,
It's almost like X Factor sort of thing. You know, when they tell a little story before the person comes on, and you can relate to them, can't you? And it's that interaction, and you get a feel for them, don't you? So
yeah, it's about being down to earth as well. Like,
mm,
they don't go around like they're sort of like better than you or I. They're down to earth people. They meet with the fans, and it goes a long, long way. And he does a good job in the ring. He hasn't lost yet.
mhm.
His power. His power seems to be getting better and better. He's got a lot of power behind his shots, and the fans love to see the knockouts, and that's what Johnny Fisher delivers.
He delivers. Yeah, I was gonna say, has people forgotten that Fisher was named 2023 Young Boxer of the Year by the Boxing Writing Club as well? So obviously that is quite a good achievement, isn't it?
Oh, massively.
Mm.
And the good thing about Johnny Fisher as well, he's very, very active. I know it's sort of like early in his career, but he's staying very active. You're not having any long delays in between his fights, which,
Mm.
when you sort of like have fighters like him, they're always fresh in the memory if you're
Mm.
fighting regular.
Yeah, it's
And
consistency,
he's
isn't
doing
it?
all he,
Mm.
yeah, you need that, especially like in the stage of his career Johnny Fisher's at. And like I say, he delivers every time. He's a big puncher, and the fans, like big boxing fans like me and casuals, they like to see the knockouts.
As to see it. Yeah. What does Babic bring to the fight?
Absolute fire. We know what Alen Babic is.
Yeah.
He's he's not great technically. I mean,
No.
don't get me
But
wrong. I wouldn't want
well,
to
some
bump
people
into him
could
and
say
tell
that
him
about.
this.
Yeah, some people could say that about Fisher though. They could say he's not great technically as well, couldn't they? So.
Yeah, but if you compare the two, Johnny
Mm.
Fisher's got a lot more boxing ability for me than Alen Babic. We know what we get with Babic. He walks forward, he swings the shots. And because he's open to the shots as well, obviously he gets, especially as he's slightly advanced in his career, he's got
Mm.
caught a lot more.
Yeah.
So that makes it even more exciting. Whereas early on, he was dominating fights and knocking people out, wild swings, wild lunges.
Well. Mm.
But he's exciting to watch. I mean,
What? Yeah.
his last fight against Steve Robinson, it was for a while it lasted. It weren't pretty, but it
Yeah.
was wild, and it
Well.
was a typical Babic performance
Babic
where
was.
you just know what you're going to get.
Yeah, I was going to go on to that. Obviously, you mentioned Babic beat Steve Robinson 6 rounds. It wasn't the greatest of fights, was it? But beforehand, he had that devastating loss to Ronzansky in the first round. He got totally done over, didn't he? Do you think he's
Yeah,
still got a bit of fight in him? Is he a worthy contender, would you say?
I think it's the perfect fight right now for Babic and Johnny Fisher. I think it's very good matchmaking because the fact it'd be a fan-friendly fight. It'd be explosive. Can't see it lasting the distance, but it will be explosive while it lasts. But the thing is with Brzezinski and Babic, sort of like styles make fights.
Mm-hmm.
And Brzezinski, the way he fights, was all wrong for Babic, really.
Yeah,
Whereas he goes up against Lawrence Okoli and he got sparks,
I
Brzezinski.
was about to say, Lawrence Okoli showed the way how to do that, didn't he? Really? So.
But if you look at Babic compared to Lawrence Okoli, you got Babic who's a small guy, and then you got Okoli who's got them long levers, tall,
Yeah,
rangy.
yeah,
Styles make fights, and he was all wrong for Rosansky, whereas Rosansky was all wrong for Babic. It's just about how
yeah,
the Styles make fights.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I totally agree. Will this be Fisher's toughest fight to date, do you think?
Probably for the way he probably will have to take a few shots because of the way, like we say,
Mm-hmm.
Babic fights. But I still expect Fisher to handle him quite comfortably, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
But it's Babic will probably hit Johnny Fisher with some shots, but let's see what his chin's like because he hasn't been hit loads. So I
Yeah,
expect him to see what his chin's like in this fight.
yeah, definitely will be tested. With regards to this fight, who would you like to see the winner fight next?
I'd like to see the winner fight someone like the winner of Dacres and Adelaide, something like that. The English heavyweight title.
Wow, yeah, that'd be good.
Something like that. Nice domestic fight again. I keep saying domestic a lot on this show, I think.
Yeah, we love a domestic fight.
But, but I think that would be good. Like, you know, I actually expect Dacres to outpoint David Adelaide, because I think the style again will be wrong for Adelaide, and something like that. Johnny Fisher or Babic versus one of them. I think that'd be sort of like a nice development in the career.
Yeah, definitely, and it keeps the names going as well, doesn't it? The big sort of names rather than maybe a step backwards name. Anyway, it keeps the momentum there.
Definitely.
I don't want your prediction just yet, but obviously Fisher is on the 6-fight knockout streak. Is this fight going to the cards?
No.
Now,
I've done a few of these on your shows where I've got predictions like this wrong, and I've said definitely not going to the cards, whatever, and they do. But this is one where everyone watching, I think, would agree with me. This isn't going to the cards because it's going to end in a KO.
Yeah. Okay. I don't want your prediction yet. One more question.
I'm trying to keep it. Don't worry.
Try to keep it. Hold it. How do you see the fight going?
So you want my prediction now?
Yeah.
I see Johnny Fisher stopping Babic probably around 6 to 8, something like that. I think it'd be fun while it lasts. I think it'd be explosive. I think Babic will make the fight entertaining, but I just think Johnny Fisher will have that little bit too much technical ability to line the shots up and tag Babic. And I think he'll hit Babic too cleanly with too many shots, and I don't think he'll be able to take them.
Sure.
An entertaining fight.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. I think it's going to be a barnstorm, but I'm going a bit earlier. I'm saying Fisher 4 to 5. I'm saying a bit earlier than that, but I'll predict an absolute. I wouldn't be surprised, even if Fisher, you mentioned about him having his chin tested, actually maybe going down from a shot. Maybe it wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. It could be that sort of swinging sort of fight, all guns blazing as such, really. So yeah, but yeah, it's like you said, it should be entertaining while it lasts. Before you go, Darren, always have a few ending questions for you. Last week we had Usyk obviously giving that message out saying he's given up the IBF belt for obviously AJ and Dubois to fight. Is Usyk the nicest heavyweight ever? Do you think?
Very kind of him. Fair play to him. But he's letting AJ and Dubois fight for his belt, basically. But there's a little bit, is there a ploy in this? Is it because the rematch isn't going to be for all the belts, whereas Fury wanted that? It does make you ever think there's a bit of a ploy behind it all. But fair play to Usyk. He's a lovely guy, isn't he? And he's vacated the IBF. But does make you wonder whether, is it to stop Fury fighting for all the belts type of thing, or something along them lines?
From a psychological point of view, yeah. So he's not going to get all the belts, obviously, in the rematch in December as well. Yeah. Moving on to that fight, AJ versus Dubois at Wembley. You're going. You got tickets.
Hey. Certainly am. So are you, aren't you?
So looking forward to that. There. Yeah, I mentioned. You mentioned earlier you're happy with the undercard. I'm happy with the undercard as well. You mentioned all the promoters come together. There's some intriguing fights there. On that undercard, isn't there? So, any outstanding for me? I think it's probably the Smith Kelly fight, really. So that's quite intriguing.
I think that'd be a very. I think a clash of styles in that fight will make it interesting. And I also think Kakachi and Warrington will be a good fight as well.
Yeah, cracking fight. Yeah,
I'll go toe to toe. They will.
Yeah,
definitely. Be a cracker.
I wonder if Warrington's working on his headbutting skills already. So for this one, so it's going to be.
Don't have none of that, so we see a decent fight.
Yeah, I can see it again. That's going to be a cracking fight. And you mentioned obviously, Tyler Denny getting his crack at Shiraz. Tough night for Tyler, I think, that, but well deserved fighting on that undercard anyway.
Yeah.
With regards to that fight, obviously it's all been released last week, but should it really be Dubois versus AJ rather than AJ versus Dubois? Because obviously Dubois the champ, right?
Yeah, technically you're correct. Yeah, I mean, Dubois the champion, but it's one of those old things in boxing where sort of like the bigger name is Anthony Joshua. Is it in the contract? I do this. My name's first. I come out first. It's what happens. It's sort of like what you associate with the Eubanks, isn't it? Of when you ring walkies and all that.
Yeah, I was talking to another person the other day, and I wonder if that sort of leeway, Frank Warren said, yeah, that's fine. You can put your name first, but will Dubois get the ring walks? Will he get the dressing room? Will he get the choice of the corner and stuff like that? The stuff behind the background. Will Frank? I think Frank's a smart guy because he wants Dubois to win. He doesn't want AJ to win. Will he be getting all them small little things, to favour Dubois?
Well, the thing is, everything that they've obviously discussed will all be in the contracts. They must both be completely happy with what they've signed. But I do agree that, really, it should be Dubois versus AJ because he has been promoted to full champion from interim. But Joshua's obviously, I would say, he will be getting the more money and everything, won't he? Because of the name he is. And they've obviously contracted it all about everything, that whether he's wanted his name first or whatever. It's a bit of, if I was a fighter personally, I wouldn't care about any of that. That wouldn't bother me. But some of these fighters have egos, and their egos are their egos. And like I say, it's the sort of thing you associate with the Eubanks of the world.
It is an interesting one because you think about the ring walk. Always the challenger goes in first, isn't it? And the champ goes in after. So I wonder if that is going to be the case. I wonder if we're going to see that, or will it be Dubois going first and Joshua come out after?
I know. Well, the only way we'll know is fight night. We're only going to know then. But like I say, they've obviously got no issue. Either fighters obviously got no issues with anything, and I didn't think they would, to be honest, with how much they're getting paid, because they're going to be getting paid ridiculous amounts.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, they don't really mind, really, do they? So as long as the fight's happening, and that's what I guess that's what we want as fans. Okay, that's it pretty much for another show. Darren, thanks for your time, for coming on.
Cheers,
again.
Mate.
Always appreciate your time and your comments. Please obviously support the channel as best you can with likes, comments, subscriptions as well. Enjoy the fights on Saturday, and I'll get a quick bosh in. I'm sure there's going to be a few boshes going around, but enjoy the fights.
Bosh.